Hi, everybody.
Hello? Hey, sorry, I don't know if anybody saw my text message, but I was having some technical difficulties. Oh, I see. Perfect. I saw your text, Willa. So, and then my other issue is,
The
my
one in
husband,
the back? The kid in your background?
yeah.
Hi, Zuby K.
Say hi, Auntie Deidre. Hi, Auntie Willa.
Hi. Good morning.
How are you today?
So we've got this fabulous little set. Oh, you want to show them your color change card? Yeah, your card that changes color.
Cool.
So we got his
Change
little
color
race.
when you get it wet?
It does it in your hand too,
Oh, wow.
but I'm not hot enough to change it colors. My hands are always cold.
Oh, wow.
So I
That's
wish
a
I
really
could
cool,
zoom in.
that's a really cool racetrack.
Yeah, so we've got it up on the box, so when it comes down. Okay, do it. Is it gonna go the right way? There you go. Oh, there's no bowl of water there. So I put it up on the box so it would come off the ramp and land in a bowl of water and change color.
That should keep him busy.
Yeah. As long as he can, keep it all lined up and everything. But so, oh, he missed. Then you're okay. You just gotta put it a little farther back. You wanna try it again? Yeah. Okay, try it again. Try one more time.
Israel, are you frozen?
Yes, you wanna do it? Okay, we're watching. So Nam should be here literally any minute to take him off my hands. NECA just got an emergency meeting called, and my mom's dog is really, really sick and had to go to the emergency vet. So
No.
I know she's.
So is your mom back in Indiana?
She is, yeah. She left. Gosh, I guess the beginning of May. Nam came home right at the end of April, and so she was at the beginning of May. Yeah, so she's been gone for the month now. Doesn't seem like that long.
Yeah, it didn't seem like that long. It's like she just left.
I know, and I look back, I'm like, it feels like maybe 2 weeks, but it's been at least 3. Can you just keep trying? So yeah. Oh, I think I hear something. So
the good news is we know a lot of the routines now, so you can cue us. And
also, since it's just the 2, I can let you ladies know kind of what I have planned for the day. And then because it's just the 3 of us, if there's some other route you guys want to go, we can modify. Okay, you got to take all of that with you. Yeah, baby. Mommy has to teach her class. I know, but you can't play while mommy's teaching. So, like the last 2 weeks we've been, first of all, okay, we're recording. Let me turn my phone off now. Okay. The last 2 weeks we've kind of been playing with how your lower core connects through your central core, right? And how you can use that to open up sacrum, low back, hips. So today I wanted to kind of focus on central core in 2 aspects of, I have a couple like breathing exercises that I wanted to share. Can you guys understand me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
2 breathing exercises that I wanted to share with you. And then also there's
she just froze.
I thought it was me.
Through, huh?
You froze just for a second.
Oh, froze for a second. Yeah, so today I
just said 2 breathing exercises.
Yeah, 2 breathing exercises, and then a tensegrity flow that takes you through rotation. It's an extension of the sideline work that we started last week, but then it's got a whole flow to it that kind of gives you an opportunity again just to kind of play with and connect with those sensations of tensegrity in your body or down the back, up the front. So that's like just a flowing movement. However, if for some reason you guys really aren't all that interested in breath, or want a more movement heavy session, I can switch it up on the spot. We can do something different. Do you guys have, or do you got do either of you have any like nagging issues or anything like you really specifically are curious about addressing, or something that you can do something for? We can kind of take it that route too. So let me shut the door, but then let me hear from you if you guys have anything particular. If you're open to anything, then we'll do the central core work. Still coming?
Deidre, how's the weather there?
It's beautiful. I'm
It's
been
getting
so
hot.
happy about this week.
It's not like humid or anything there yet?
It's a little humid, not like terrible, but my hair keeps like frizzing when I go outside. So it's not like oppressive, but it's definitely a little more humid. But it's not that hot.
Okay.
So, and there's a nice breeze. But it's warm, like even it's starting to get warm in the morning, which is nice to be outside.
Sorry about that. So what do you guys think? Do you have any thoughts or on anything, or anything that you're really interested in exploring or tackling?
I like breathing. I know that sounds weird because we do it all the time, but breathing exercises are good. And then I just always, probably because we're always in front of the computer, but this area here. So things to keep reminding me to keep my shoulders down and be back.
Okay. Yeah, well, the breathing stuff will help with that. One of them in particular. Other thing with next Saturday, our focus is going to be
or anything like that. Like these are the people who made me really believe it are
upper core.
Okay.
You feel right, really focusing on all the sensations of upper core tying into your down the back up the front. So we'll really tackle that next week. We can do something with it this week, but if you're interested in the breathing stuff, that should help too.
Okay.
Willa, what's kind of your take on things today?
I've been noticing more and more just the benefits of, I think, doing Pilates. So like I had talked to you about how my knees were getting sore from some of the cardio stuff I was doing. Right. And I just realized like yesterday that actually in the last couple of weeks, I've been doing the same types of exercises, but I haven't had the pain in my knees. So I feel like the Pilates is helping me in ways that I'm not really even conscious of. Yeah. So that's the new thing. The other stuff is like stuff I've been doing. So I'm kind of like, I'm game to do whatever the program is. Okay. The only thing I do that's like another body thing is, I think I talked to you about this, my hips get really tight. Mm-hmm. And then so I think one part of it is at night I'll get like restless legs. Oh yeah. But it's all like the energy is like all right here. Okay. So anything that's the only like ailment. Yeah, well, so it might be interesting, the 10 Sagrity flow that we are doing today it definitely has the potential to impact that. So it might be worth exploring just to see if it helps with your restless legs at night. But I love what you said, how that Pilates is kind of impacting you in ways that you're kind of unconscious of, and I think that's so perfect. It's just little things like you said, like when I was talking to you and I was having all this, like that neck pain, and then it was like I was talking to you and I realized I had gotten the wrong height of a chair for my desk, and as soon as I switched that, it like that was gone. And then I think when I was talking to you about my knee pain, you were saying I might hold like tension, be tensing, and so I like just kind of subconsciously think about relaxing, trying to like relax that more. But yeah, like yesterday I was doing this dance video that has a lot of jumping and stuff that normally would translate to like my knees being sore after. Yeah. And I was like, wait, it hasn't been sore for like 3 weeks. That's awesome. So yeah, and jumping can definitely be a big quad activator. So it's great that it sounds like, yeah, you've probably got a little bit more balance between your quads and your hamstrings and your adductors, right? So you have that more three-dimensional support around your knee instead of it all kind of coming from one side of your leg. So that's awesome. And so
one thing, so I do, like, Pilates is what I've done since 2003. And just in the last, probably less than 10 years, in the last, like, I don't know, maybe 7 years, is when I started to explore these concepts of tensegrity and partnering with gravity and the whole down the back and up the front thing. So that part is really what I think is primarily benefiting you. And that's not necessarily, like, I didn't learn that from Pilates. I learned that kind of as a separate thing that applies to Pilates, weightlifting, CrossFit, dancing, right? It's just kind of a way of being in your body that it just relates to living in your body. So Pilates is great. And we've been doing, you know, that first series of movements that we learned was all Pilates movements, but we layered the partnering with gravity and the tensegrity concepts on top of it. And that's what I find has the most impact. Like, you could do Pilates exercises without this perspective or this way of sensing your body, and you wouldn't get as much out of it. So
can I add something? So yeah. Over the week I was thinking about you, and it's kind of like what Willa said in a way, but I wonder if you could begin to articulate some of the benefits in ways that would like engage people really well. Like,
that's what I'm working on.
Just so, like, these are the benefits. So maybe we could try to help you, like, as Willa's saying, like, I've noticed all these things don't hurt anymore.
Give testimonial, right? Little testimonials.
You know, oh, I don't think I'm going to get that hump in my back because I'm so much more conscious, or like things that people might actually care about as you market yourself. Because I think that the benefits aren't so tangible. Like, it's not like you're like, oh, you're going to lose weight, but they're actually make everything else kind of possible. Like, it's like about
Deirdre,
do you feel differences?
I feel a lot of this. So I think there was the one day I missed, and I literally almost couldn't walk. Like, my knees were just so messed up. And then I think the next time we had the class, I was still in a little bit of pain, but after that class, it was gone, and it hasn't really come back. It comes back like a little bit, but then as soon as we have another class, I notice, like, almost immediately after the class, I have a lot more range of motion in my knees. And yeah, it's really amazing how it's not like we did anything super strenuous or that I felt like I had like a huge readjustment.
Yeah.
I was even like, I wonder if like you accept insurance, because I would totally pay you a ton of money. Like, my lawyer from the car accident called, and he's trying to like settle things up, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm not done. Can we count Pilates?
Right. Yeah, wait, I need some money for Pilates in here. I need therapy.
Is that why your knees hurt you, Deirdre, because of the car accident?
No, I think something happened when we went on lockdown that, I don't know, maybe it was I just wasn't I didn't move hardly at all for like 2 weeks, and I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I don't know what happened, but it was like my knees just swelled up really big. And
are you still doing your lunchtime walks?
No, so that's why I started it, and I have been every day. I even have some regular partners that
like you call
on Wednesday and Fridays. It's like the same people, the same person on those days. So we're kind of keeping each other active. It's really like a lifeline now. If I miss it, I'm like, oh shoot, when's the next time I can go?
That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, you're totally right. And I am trying to be more cognizant. I need to write things down when people say them. But yeah, I am trying to kind of collect words from other people, so that when I market myself, exactly, I'm using the language of the people and not the language of like my studied brain. Because for me, everything's in terms of, you know, physiology and neurology and tensegrity and this and that. And I know it doesn't, and I know that this is a thing I struggle with. So you're spot on. So thank you.
No, that'd be good, because then it could resonate with somebody and they're with you, and maybe they wouldn't have otherwise known the connection.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so I actually shared, so I'm going to ask for a general permission. I don't, typically don't share names, but if you guys, first of all, if either of you wanted to write a testimonial for me, I have a little testimonial sheet. and I can
Yeah,
share it
send
with you, and you just answer
Yeah.
the 3 questions, and then I kind of clean it up and make it real tidy and get your approval, and then I can share it. Like with your name, not your full name, but it'd be like, Willa from, from Boston or whatever. And then like your occupation, because people sometimes will relate, with that. But otherwise, like I shared, like, Will, I didn't mention your name or anything, and I didn't get your permission beforehand. But it's like, somebody in class shared that she was having spasms in her back, right? And since we've been, since she's been in class, she's learned some techniques that help relieve that more quickly. I know a couple of you saw it, but I like to, if you guys are okay with me just sharing like generic things that, like, when you share with me, I won't mention names or anything, just say, hey, somebody in class shared today. That's kind of me, like, starting to attempt to share what other people are saying, and not just, first of all, it's also good for people to hear it from someone other than me, like not me saying it does all this stuff, but hey, my clients are reporting experiencing this. And then it's also me practicing, right, recreating the words that my clients are using. So
Yeah, I'm fine with
that's fine.
cool. Okay, well, let's go ahead and dive in. I want to share the breath stuff first. So there's 2 things. So the first one is it's called a Bolt score. Okay, so basically most people overbreathe, right? We actually technically we're hyperventilating. Now most people, like when I hear the word hyperventilate, I think of like breathing into a brown paper bag, right? Like people are really like quick, short, shallow breaths. But actually, right, so you can be hyperventilating without being to that extreme. And most people are walking around in life hyperventilating, just meaning that their breath isn't diaphragmatic enough, right? Their diaphragm isn't moving enough. So their breath isn't full enough, it's not deep, and it's too quick. Like they're just kind of breathing up here, so to speak, in their lungs. So what that does from like a tissue perspective is you're taking in plenty of oxygen. Like on the Zoom a couple weeks ago, Mom was asking about the pulsometers, like where that little thing you put on your fingertip and it gives you your pulse and it gives your blood oxygen saturation.
right.
So most of us have a good, get a good blood saturation level there. But the issue is the oxygen getting from your blood into your tissues, right? So with this kind of chronic hyperventilation, or this lack of deep, full breath, and too high of a breathing rate that we all just kind of typically live with, we're getting enough oxygen in, but we're exhaling too much carbon dioxide. And it's carbon dioxide that facilitates the transfer of the of the oxygen from your blood into your tissues. So what we want to make sure is not only, right, that we're breathing enough oxygen, but that we're also maintaining good CO2 levels so that oxygen can actually get into all of the tissues around our body, right? And it's gonna have all kinds of health benefits. Athletes are particularly interested in this because it really helps, they'll really notice a big difference in strength and endurance and lack of breathlessness during endurance activities when they improve their carbon dioxide levels, which gives them more oxygen transfer into the tissues, right? They experience more endurance, they experience more strength, and they experience less breathlessness. So if you were to look up like Bolt score, you would find a lot of athletes talking about it. But I just want to say that, right, it has tons of health benefits beyond just endurance and strength. But so what we're going to do is we're going to take a breathing test, and we're going to get our Bolt scores right now. So we're just going to see where we are today and how good is our oxygen transfer into our tissues. And it's very simple, okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to allow a normal inhale, and then you're going to exhale normally. So the thing with measuring your Bolt score is there's no forcing, right? So I don't want you to like really breathe it all out and squeeze your nose. You want you to have a normal inhale, a normal exhale, and then you'll pinch your nose and you're just going to chill. You're not going to breathe. You're just going to relax. And then I'm going to have a timer going, and I'm going to be counting out loud so you can hear the seconds. And I want you to remember what number we're on when you feel the first signs of wanting to inhale. So I know that you can like force yourself to hold your breath longer, but again, we're not forcing. So you're looking for, like, as you're holding your breath, you're very calm, you're very comfortable, and then at some point you may feel like you want to swallow. That would be a sign that your body's starting to want to inhale. Or you might get kind of that like that little hiccup, like that little diaphragm flutter spasm, like where your body starts to try to inhale, right? So that's where you want to mark the number. Now, I know you could resist that and continue holding your breath, but that's not the point of the Bolt score. So we want to know at a very calm, relaxed state, when does your body give that first sign of trying to take an inhale? Does that make sense? Okay, so let me get my timer pulled up here. Okay, so again, you'll just, you'll let yourself have a normal inhale, a very calm, relaxed exhale, then you'll hold your nose, hold your breath, and I'll start counting. When you get that first sign of swallowing or that little diaphragm flutter spasm, then mark that number, okay? You ready? Okay, so you just let yourself have an inhale, and then exhale. Normal exhale, hold your nose, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, good. So I'm going to stop there. So
it's hard to resist the urge to try to like beat the timer.
yeah, that's the thing too. So don't get too caught up like in the number, because yeah, you don't want that like to impact. So do you want to do it one more time, just kind of now that you have kind of a sense and know what you're doing, and just see if it changes at all? And then I'm going to tell you what your number means and what number we're looking to achieve. Okay. So let's just do it one more time. Let me reset my timer. Okay. So a normal inhale, a normal exhale, and hold your nose when you're ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so you were pretty much the same. So first time didn't have big effect on it. Okay, so get this. Your minimum, so your Bolt score is the number of seconds, you know, that you hold your nose before your body starts to send you a breathing response. You want your minimum, like at the low point, you want to be able to hold for at least 40 seconds.
What?
Is that even possible?
It's totally possible.
Like without your body without feeling like you're holding your breath?
Yes, exactly. Without those little like swallowings or those hiccups, without going, you know, yes, without forcing it, just to very comfortably sit there and no signs of breath activity trying to come into play. So, yeah. So of course I can't do it because I wanted to count the seconds out loud. For me, the last couple, I was doing this a couple weeks ago. And so listen, back in October, I was doing it and I was just short of 40. And then just like this month I've been doing it and I've been hanging out at about the 20-second mark. So mine has decreased. Right, so what this is telling us, right, is again that we're exhaling too much carbon dioxide, right? We're not letting we don't have a nice tolerance of carbon dioxide building up in our body. And without that carbon dioxide, we're not getting optimal oxygen transfer into our tissues. So the Bolt score is something you'd like to see improve for the sake of, right, oxygen exchange in your body, which of course, you know, again, strength, endurance, but then also the health of your tissues and just the whole functioning of your body. So I just thought it was interesting to take that score, and then if it's something you're really curious about, you can work on making it better by doing breath holding exercises, like literally just by doing that. But anytime, like throughout the day, if you just want to more often take a moment, hold your breath and just practice, right? So there's two things that'll make a difference. Practicing holding your breath will help increase your tolerance to carbon dioxide and help you adjust to being able to go longer without having to breathe. But then the other thing that's going to make a difference is what we're doing in class when I talk about when we talk about breath and diaphragm movement in class, right? So getting more down the back, up the front will free up your diaphragm to move more during your natural, you know, unconscious breath. So the whole idea of partnering with gravity should impact, take you from kind of that shallow breath and that minimal diaphragmatic excursion to a deeper, fuller breath with more diaphragmatic excursion. Slows down your breathing rate, which stops you exhaling carbon dioxide, which means right, carbon dioxide levels increase in your body, which means more oxygen leaves the blood, gets to your tissues, which means your BOLT score increases. Did you track with all that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's two, to kind of sum it up in less words, there's 2 ways to improve your BOLT score. Number 1, actually practice holding your breath. Number 2, make sure throughout the day that you're getting a fuller diaphragmatic breath. And my point being that the practices that we're doing in this class should be leading you towards that fuller diaphragmatic breath, right? You should be becoming less and less of a hyperventilator by doing these practices of partnering with gravity and noticing, like when we always start each class with a breath exercise where I really try to get you to feel, right, the inhale, ribs expand, and then the exhale of the ribs dropping, and that kind of the axial elongation. Those kinds of practices will help you be a deeper breather, which will help with your blood gas exchange in your body. Okay, and then of course, then there's all the health benefits that come from that. So, yeah. So if you have more questions or thoughts about that, you can always email, text me. We can discuss it if you want to know more about it. You can also look it up online. Like it's out there. It's very well known, common, studied stuff. You can find lots of info on it. But I wanted to at least introduce you to the concept, and then we can explore it and talk about it more if you're interested in it. Okay. Now, the other breath exercise, practice rather, that I want to share with you, and I've mentioned it before, is the humming breath. Now, this one I find uber intriguing, especially given the pandemic going around right now, right? So humming breath can impact your immunity. It can impact your movement. It can impact your body's ability to relax from stress, to relieve stress. And it can boost your immunity. And I'm going to try not to get more scientific than you guys want me to be. But so humming breath. So first of all, nasal breathing is important for many, many reasons. One of them being that you have all these sinuses, right? These sinus cavities in your face. You all are aware of those? Okay. So inside those sinus cavities, I don't know all the physiology behind why or how your body produces nitric oxide, but I know that nitrous oxide, right, exists in your sinus cavities. Okay, and so when you breathe through your mouth, you don't exchange air with those sinus cavities. So in order to access the nitric oxide in your in your sinus cavities, you have to breathe in and out through your nose. So why do we care about nitric oxide? So nitric oxide, it does a few different things that help with immunity. So one thing that it does is it stimulates all the little cilia, all these little hair-like structures in your respiratory tract. So when you breathe in particles, whether it be dust, bacteria, fungi, viruses, right, they get trapped in your mucus, and then those cilia send the mucus back up out of your lower respiratory system, back up into your upper respiratory system, and that's where we sneeze or cough or blow them out. So first of all, nitric oxide helps, right, send that gunk that we don't want, intruders, back up and out of the respiratory system. The other thing is that nitric oxide has been scientifically proven to have antifungal, antibacterial, and antiviral properties. So that nitric oxide is actually help killing those intruders as well. So the less you breathe through your mouth, the more you breathe through your nose, the more you're exchanging the air you breathe with the nitric oxide in your sinus cavities, which means the more advantage you're getting from that nitric oxide to help your body fight off intruders. Okay. Now we add the humming to that. So the humming is a nasal breath. So it's doing all those things we just talked about, but then it's adding this resonance to it, right? It's adding this vibration. So that vibration is going to increase the exchange between the air you're breathing and the nitric oxide in your nasal cavities, right? It's just more disruption, more movement. So you're going to get more exchange, you're going to get even more benefits from that nitric oxide exchange. Then the other thing is that we have a nerve called the vagus nerve. Okay, the vagus nerve is a fundamental component of your parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic, so you've probably heard of like fight or flight and rest and digest. Have you guys heard of those kind of those terms?
I have not heard of rest and digest. It's just meaning like relax after eating, or?
Yeah, well, so I mean, like, so fight.
Pre-med. All of this resonates.
What did you say, Deidre?
I'm a biologist who was pre-med. All of this is very clear. I'm with you.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay, right. So yeah, so most people have heard of fight or flight. So rest and digest isn't as common, maybe out there, but it is out there. It's just the opposite, right? So you have your autonomic nervous system has two branches. It has a sympathetic branch and a parasympathetic branch. And again, sorry, I'm going to try not to get too scientific-y, but right, so the sympathetic is your fight or flight. Like when there's a stress and you're reacting to something, right? Your body's like amped up. It's the adrenaline rush, right? That's your fight or flight response from your sympathetic parasystem. The other side of your autonomic nervous system is parasympathetic, and we call that rest and digest. So that's the branch of your nervous system that helps you calm back down. And we say rest and digest because basically in order to right, when you digest, blood needs to go to your gut. So you have to maximize digestion. You don't want to be in a stressed state because stress is going to send your blood elsewhere. So resting, calming down, relaxing after some stressor or something, has got you all amped up. So it's important for resting and digesting. So your vagus nerve is a fundamental component of that parasympathetic branch, or that rest and digest branch, right? Your vagus nerve has a lot to do with your body being able to calm down and recover quickly after being stressed. So your vagus nerve runs through your vocal cords, and then I'm gonna have to look it up. And then it runs through either your trachea or along near your bronchioles. Can't remember. But the point being, when you hum, that vibration stimulates your vagus nerve. The more you stimulate your vagus nerve, the better able your body is to relax and relieve itself and recover from stress. So the humming breath has multiple advantages from an immunity standpoint, right, with mixing with the nitrous oxide, and then from stimulating your vagus nerve, which helps you relax, calm down. And then of course, relaxing is imperative to the whole idea of partnering with gravity, being able to access your down, the back, up, the front, right? If you're tense, if you've got so much stress, right, you've got all this up energy, you can't access your down, the back, up, the front. So that vagal tone is going to impact your ability to experience down the back, up the front, which has a direct impact on your experience of being in your tensegrity of your body, of finding that buoyancy where your knees don't hurt, right? And where you don't get the back spasms, where you feel grounded and connected, right? You just feel more fluid in your body and you have less resistance. Okay, so and again, humming breath it's out there. There's lots of science, evidence, research. You can look it up. If you're interested in resources to know more about it, I can share some of mine with you. So I wanted to let you know about humming breath, and then I wanted to do some humming breath with you today, just to give you an experience of it. You can do humming breath just on its own. You can just hum throughout the day to help increase that nitric oxide exchange. But then you can also do humming, and we've talked about this in a past class. You can do humming during your movement to help give you better access to those sensations of down the back, up the front. Okay? So humming breath, just like when we were testing our Bolt score, there's no forcing. So this is not like force yourself to hold your breath as long as possible. It's simply allowing the inhale, doing a normal exhale with your tongue resting at the top of your mouth, or just behind your teeth. Should be the normal resting spot of your tongue, right? And you just hum on the exhale. And when you get to the point where your exhale feels complete, again, you're not forcing the air out. You get to the end of your exhale, you allow an inhale, and then you just hum on your exhale. So we're just going to do 2 or 3 breath cycles with that. Actually, it might be interesting to do something like to kind of test out if your humming breath has an immediate impact on your body physically. Like you could go into your long sit if that's something where you know your body kind of has a lot of tightness or strain. You could go into your long sit or see how it feels. Another one that I like to do is rotation, where I'll hold my arms out and see how far I can rotate. And then I'll do the humming breath, and then I'll see how much my rotation increases. So to go ahead and do that, pick one, or if you want to do both, you can, or you can even do rotation in your long sit, right? So just kind of notice where you are on your sitting bones, how it feels through your body, how slumped, how lifted you feel, right? Just kind of notice how long sit is in your body. If you're interested, then put your arms out in front of you and do a little bit of rotation. And first of all, in order to do the rotation, we're gonna have to make sure we sit in the exact same spot. So notice where you are and what you're facing. And then when you rotate, you wanna notice what's directly at the end of your fingertips. So that's gonna tell you, right, how far you're rotating to kind of keep it consistent. So rotate, keep your arms straight out in front of you. Don't let your arms rotate past your body. So keep your fingertips together, right? Don't let your fingertips get offset as you twist. Yeah. And just notice, right, where you go. Okay? Okay, so now get comfortable. Sit however you want to sit. I don't want you to have any strain in a long sit. If you just want to bend your knees or go cross-legged or however you sit that's comfortable. And we're going to go ahead and do, since we're testing something, we're going to go ahead and do at least 3 rounds of the humming breath. Okay? So again, you're just going to let a normal inhale. You're going to keep your mouth closed while you exhale, and your tongue's going to be resting at the top of your mouth, just behind your teeth. And you're just going to, and you're going to hum until you feel like you naturally need to inhale again. Let the inhale happen. Exhale, hum. 3 rounds. Okay? And then give me the thumbs up when you're done. I'm going to do it with you. Good. So go back into your, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know how many is the minimum needed. Like what's the minimal effective dose? I don't know what that number is. I just threw 3 out there. So let's see if 3 does anything. So go ahead and first just go back into your long sit and see where you are in your sitting bones, how you feel in your body. Do you feel like you have more space or any noticeable increase in comfort in your long sit? And yeah, and then when you're ready, go into your rotation and see if there's any change there. Mine is minimal, very, very, very minimal.
So I went a little bit further,
Okay.
and I think I felt a little more relaxed.
Yeah, I kind of same.
Yeah, I went a little bit further, and I also felt my back more engaged in the twist. Like maybe the reason I went more was that their muscles were working.
Yeah, you had more rotation
I don't
along
know.
your spine.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So let's do one more thing. Let's rotate. Let's hum as we rotate instead of rotating after we hum. And now this one, I expect there to be a noticeable, like a much more significant shift in our rotation. So let's try it.
3 again?
Do as many. If you do 1 and it's like, that was amazing. If you want to do a couple to see if it keeps growing, that's what I would say. Yeah, let's shoot for 3 and see if each time you go, you continue to go a little bit further. Okay, so you just find your long sit. Arms are out in front. Make sure you got your waterfall. Allow the inhale and just hum on your exhale. Remember the waterfall. I had a much bigger change on one side and not as much on the other side.
What my left side the whole time was harder than going to the right, but this time I went further than the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised that I could go further.
without forcing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the vagal tone. That's the whole, right? That vagus nerve stimulating that gives you access to your down the back up the front. And the down the back up the front gives you access to more space in your body, right? More room to move without sacrificing your stability. Right, you're not hyperextending any one point in order to go further, but you have, that continuous support, that freedom. And what you have is a lack of threat in your brain, right? You've reduced the threat that your brain is perceiving by whatever signals are around you in life. And when you have that reduced perception of threat, then your brain allows you to move further. So
that's I'm curious if I do push-ups and hum, will I be able to do more?
Listen, so there's two things. So the breath holding, I think it's on an inhale. I think for the breath holding, you actually, you breathe a few times, then you inhale, hold it, and you do push-ups, and you will do more push-ups. If you hum while you do the push-ups, you'll probably do more, but I think the difference between like the holding breath and the humming breath, you'll feel stronger and more comfortable in your body with the humming breath. You'll probably get more reps on both, but I'm gonna predict that you'll get significantly more reps on the breath holding.
Wow.
You'll get more reps, but not as many with the humming, but you'll feel freer and more fluid in your body with the humming breath.
So, the humming reminded me of like the yoga classes I do now. They don't really do the Om for some reason. It seems like at least the studio I'm part of, they just like don't do it, where it used to be that everyone would do the Oms.
Yeah.
But it made me remember that. Is that why you do the Om in yoga?
So
it felt similar.
It's very similar, right? So you're definitely getting the same effect. Whether that was the reason that's a part of yoga, I don't know. I don't know the history of yoga enough, but you're definitely, you're humming, right? So whether that was their intention of doing it, you are certainly, yes, getting the same effects on your body.
Because the other thing is when you're doing the breathing in yoga, you breathe in and out through your nose.
Perfect.
And then, and they talk about an audible breath is like what you're trying to achieve. So you are kind of humming without humming. You're just breathing hard through your nose. And then they do this exercise where you breathe in one nostril, hold it, and then breathe out this nostril. Then you switch it and you breathe in that nostril, hold it, and it goes. But it's
like in through one and out through the other.
Yeah, and then you reverse it, and you keep your mouth closed the whole time.
Yeah, perfect. And again, I don't know what their intention for that is, but you are by doing that, you are definitely accessing those nitric oxide benefits for sure. And then it's the humming. The nasal breathing does impact your vagal tone, but then the humming is exponential, right? To accessing that vagal tone. So all of it is also helping you relax. Yeah. Do you guys want to do you want to do some push-ups? You want to do a breath hold?
Thanks, Deidre.
Sorry, but yes, I'm all in.
So I have a client who came to me. Have either of you ever heard of Wim Hof? We're totally getting off topic here, but it's okay because it's great. Have either of you ever heard of Wim Hof or the Iceman? Okay, so he's become more and more popular and he's marketing himself now. But anyway, so one of my clients had breast cancer. So she discovered Wim Hof as she was recovering from breast cancer and really just trying to, get her life healthy and balanced, right, all over the place. And so he has he does ice baths, or not ice baths, but cold exposure for the sake of raising your immunity. And he does all this breath work that goes along with it.
My friend's husband is doing, I don't know. I don't remember the name, but he's like into this whole like cold thing.
Yeah, if it's not Wim Hof, it's probably somebody Wim Hof is kind of known as the guy who brought this, right, forward and was studied and things like that. But anyway, so she brought the idea of Wim Hof to me. I had never heard of him. I wasn't looking for him. And so I used to do these breath exercises with her. So this is how I know this works, Deidre. I've done this.
I think I've seen this guy on TV with baths full of ice. I don't know the name of the person, but I was like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, it's probably, again, if it wasn't him, it was probably one of his disciples or somebody who's done training with him. But okay, and of course, now I don't remember exactly how Wim Hof actually has you hyperventilate. Well, he's not having you hyperventilate. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, he has a kind of an interesting way of, because he's just trying to get people to breathe. So he's like, get the air in, get the air out. He's just trying to get people who are actually, he's not having you hyperventilate, but it kind of almost seems that way. It's a very active breath. And whereas I'm kind of a little bit different. It's like, so if you're well trained in breathing, which I know you are, I think Deidre, you have access to it because you have an awareness, you have a deeper awareness than most. Instead of Wim Hof is just going to tell you, breathe it in. We're actually going to do a nasal breath. Hold on, I actually made myself lightheaded there. We're going to do a nasal breath. You use your mouth if you need to, but what I'm more interested in is that you feel that rib excursion, right? I want you to feel your three-dimensional breath like we've practiced in previous classes. So I want you to really inhale. Feel like you're stretching that band around you. If you've got your band close by and you want to use it, go ahead and wrap it around you. I just want you to inhale. Feel yourself expand. Exhale. Feel that rib drop, the ribs dropping and coming together. Now, Wim Hof would have us do 30 of those. And then inhale, hold, and then do your push-ups. Are you guys on board for 30 breaths, or you want to do it shorter? Do you have the capacity to try that?
So we're going to do 30 breaths like you just told us. Then hold our breath.
Yeah, so you'll do.
And then do a push-up?
So yeah, so you do as many. So actually, I'm going to set the timer. Wim Hof says do push-ups for a minute and see how many.
Holding your breath?
Holding your breath. So let's do
1
this
minute?
first. So
What happens if you can't hold your breath and you just like breathe whenever, or you should really try to hold your breath?
Yeah, hold on a second. I got my timer's going.
Deidre!
Okay.
You got us doing this.
So this first of all, this is what we're going to do. Right now, we're just going to do a set of push-ups, normal breathing, no breath, but we're just going to do push-ups and see how many we can do. I'm going to set the timer for a minute. Chances are we're all going to poop out before we hit a minute.
And I can only do push-ups on my knees.
That's fine. You can do a modified push-up on your knee. It doesn't have to be a full push-up. Okay, I'll probably do them on my knee too, just to make myself feel like I can last longer. So I'm going to set the timer for a minute. So I'll take you guys through this stepwise. So don't worry about anything else yet. Let's set up. I'm going to set the timer for a minute. Do as many push-ups as you can and count them. If you poop out before the minute comes up, that's fine. If you need to stop, take a rest, and then start doing them again, that's fine too. But just count how many push-ups you do until the timer goes off. Okay, let me get the timer. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go. We're over halfway. Almost there. Okay, that's a minute. Okay, so everybody know how many they did?
That was good, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now.
The interesting thing is that I realize whenever I'm doing push-ups, I exhale when I'm going down.
Oh, interesting.
So the idea of holding my breath mentally just seems so weird.
Right, I know. Well, I can remember the first time my client was showing me this and I was looking into it, I thought, oh God, this is gonna feel awful. It's surprising. It's really surprising. So don't get too caught up in your thoughts. Just be ready to be surprised, okay? Okay. So now you can sit, you can lie down on your back. I just want you to be comfortable and we're gonna breathe, okay? 30 times. And the most important thing here, right, is that we want a big, full breath. We don't want it shallow. We don't want it quick. We want to really get the air in. Again, think about your three-dimensional breath and how your rib cage kind of expands like bucket handles swinging out. And then on the exhale, you want to feel those same ribs, those bucket handles drop back down, right? So
can I run to the bathroom really fast so then I
go for it.
feel uncomfortable?
So I'll repeat this for her, right? But so, Deidre, what we're going to do is we're going to breathe 30 rounds of maybe I should look it up. I wonder if it's 30 seconds or if it's 30 breaths. I think it's 30 breaths. 30 breaths. And then we're going to inhale, hold it.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'll start the timer. As soon as we inhale, I'll hit the timer and we're going to do push-ups. Same thing. The timer will be going for a minute. You're going to do as many as you can, count them until you feel like you need to inhale. So if you have to inhale before the minute is up, then that's your number of push-ups.
Okay.
Okay.
This is fun.
Here, I'm going to, I don't know if, I'm just gonna, not that you need to see this, but while she's gone, I'm gonna see if I can look it up. I used to have access to log in. Oh, she's back. You're fast.
No.
So this is Wim Hof. I was gonna just look up real quick to see if I could find it, but it might take me too long to find it. I'm questioning now if he has you breathe 30 reps or 30 seconds, but I'm pretty sure it's 30 breath cycles. So let me just stop this screen share. Okay, so as a reminder, Willa, we're gonna breathe in, breathe out, really big, full breaths, very deep, full, expansive breaths, 30 times. Okay, and then on your 30th or your 31st inhale, hold, and then immediately go into your push-ups. So actually, I guess this is what we're gonna have to do. You guys might have to go with my breath unless you wanna set your own timers, because we all have to start the push-ups at the same time. Do you wanna use your own timer so you can breathe at your own rate? Or do you
yeah, I guess so.
Deidre, do you want to do it with me? Do you have a
Yeah,
time?
I'm okay with yours. It would take me too long to go.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and count it and let you know when I'm starting the timer. Willa, you're welcome to breathe.
I'll try it. Just if I end up not on your pace or something, then I have my phone right here. So.
Yeah, so that's up to you. Yeah, if you want to, if we take longer or less time, then you can just go into your push-ups as soon as you get your 30th breath. Inhale, hold, immediately start your timer going to push-ups. 1 minute. You're counting how many push-ups you can do until you need to inhale. So you may make it the full minute, or you may have to inhale before that minute is up. But yeah, so we're just going to see how many push-ups we can do now that we're holding our breath. And now I have to think about it, because maybe we keep going for the whole minute, even if you have to breathe. Otherwise, it's not a consistent.
Just to see if you're doing more in the minute.
So I think even when you start to breathe, you still want to continue for the full minute, because that's what we have to compare, how many in a minute.
Maybe you could just note the number at which you had to breathe.
You could do that.
But then keep going.
Keep counting.
Exactly. And then I'll look it up to help me remember the specifics. But yeah, let's hold your breath for as long as possible, but do push-ups for a full minute, because the point is, do you do more in a minute? Okay? Okay, so here we go. So we're going to start breathing. 30 breaths. Deidre, I'll let you know when I'm on my 30th and I'm about to inhale, hold, start the timer. Okay, here we go. Start breathing. Sorry if you have to hear me breathe. I'm at 20. This is 29. One more full breath cycle, in and out. I'm going to inhale, hold, starting the timer. That's a minute.
Oh, did I do something?
No, I'm sorry. That was crazy.
Okay, so tell me, what happened?
Well, first of all, I went, as soon as I held my breath, I went into the full push-up stance without even thinking about it, and did like 5 push-ups without even thinking about it. And then I was worried about holding my breath the whole time, so I went to my knees. But I did like 10 more push-ups in that time. I think the first time I did like 22 or 23, and this time I did like 34 or 35.
That
Nice.
is so good.
But it didn't hurt in the beginning.
Yeah, I was gonna say, were you surprised at how long?
Yeah,
you
I was just
held your
like,
breath?
yeah. I think I held my breath for like 30 seconds, but it was getting kind of hard.
Yeah. Yeah, and this, I was thinking as we got into it, I thought, I don't know if I made it clear. This is like the bolt and the humming breath are very, relaxed breaths, no forcing. On this, you can actually force yourself to hold for as long as possible. And I thought, oh, I didn't clarify that, so I wonder if they'll push it. Deidre, how about you? What happened?
That was a complete debacle. I got this like leg cramp. And then I was like, oh shit, I have to breathe because I can't move. So yeah, it didn't work out, but
You had to do it again later and see.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Emily?
Huh?
What about you?
Yeah, so number one, I held my breath longer than I expected to be able to hold it. I only got about 5 more push-ups than I did the first round. I remember the first time I did this, I like got 30 to 40% more push-ups than I did before I did it. So it wasn't, I did get more, but it wasn't as drastic as the first time I did it. And what I noticed too is that I already felt sore. Like I could feel the first set of push-ups in my body, right? And so with that fatigue factor, I find that even more interesting that I didn't go longer, but I got more reps in despite the fact that I was already feeling fatigued from the first set, right? So I feel like that's a factor too. But yeah, okay, so there you go. So
So I need to add push-ups to my daily practice.
Yeah, I'm going to look up the Wim Hof stuff, and I'm not sure how much you can access without buying his program. I'm sure there's stuff out there, but okay. So we didn't get to the biotensegrity flow that I wanted to share with you, which is fine because I love the fact that you guys were into this and wanted to play with it, and I think it was great. So I hope you really enjoyed it. And
yeah, this was like fun with Pilates day.
Yeah.
So I think what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and film that biotensegrity flow and include it in the replay so that you can, if you want to play with it on your own, and then if you have questions for me during the week or next Saturday, we can address it. But I'll at least film it and give it to you guys. So if you want to,
I can't find my mat.
Okay.
all right.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
See you
Yes.
tomorrow.
Okay, so for those of you watching the replay, I hope you are having just as much fun with breath as we did in class today. Like I said, there was a biotensegrity flow that I had on the agenda. We didn't get to it, which is totally cool. But I'm gonna film it for you now so that you guys can still have it this week. So the whole point, so today was all about finding resilience through your central core. Central core is really about resilience. Tissue resilience, lung resilience, right? So freeing up your diaphragm so that you can, have full excursion of your diaphragm while you're breathing. Uber important for all the things we talked about in class today, as well as for accessing your down the back, up the front, right? As well as accessing your partnership with gravity, which allows you to live in the tensegrity of your body. Your diaphragm has tendinous attachments to your ribs, as well as your vertebra along the front of your spine. So we want to make, and a lot of people get stiffened up in that area of the spine where the diaphragm roots in. So the point of this biotensegrity flow is it's a sensory experience, right? And the sensory experience talks to your nervous system, and then your nervous system, right, makes calibrations, helps your body reorient, right? So this is not an exercise, muscle exercise, right? This is about being in the sensory experience of exploring the sensations of down the back, up the front, exploring the sensations of tensegrity and whole body connection and fluidity of movement as it transfers through your body, and finding that deep layer support. All the stuff we've been talking about for the last 2 months. This is just a one to specific flow that you could, you get up and use as a morning routine or a midday break or, end of day relaxer. So the point is to get you in the sensations of down the back, up the front. But in particular, I put this in the central core class because it involves some rotation. And that rotation happens through the entire body. But right, so if one part of your upper body is rotating this way, your lower body naturally rotates the other way, and it's that area of the spine where the diaphragm has its most poignant tendinous attachments to the spine is where that directionality changes, right? So where this body, upper body goes this way, lower body spirals that way, it's kind of a direction change, but it's not. But it's the transition, right, of one part of your body going that way, one part of your body going this way. It happens, crosses through that area of the spine where the diaphragm attaches. So this just gives you an opportunity to be in your breath, to be in rotation, and to let that sensory experiences speak to your brain and your nervous system such that your brain will then send out signals to free up that area of your spine. Right, so then the result is you have even better diaphragmatic fluid breath. You get fuller excursion of the diaphragm, which means you move more tissues when you breathe, which means those tissues move your bones when you breathe, right? So you're creating more movement at the deepest layers of your body with your breath. And then what that does is give you more access to bigger movement globally, right? When all those little bits and pieces can move, then when you go to make big movements, all those little movements add up and your big movement is bigger and fuller. And like I said in class, you haven't sacrificed stability, right, to gain movement. In fact, you've probably gained both stability and movement at the same time. And a lot of traditional practices force you to sacrifice one for the other. Like working just muscularly in the body will usually have you sacrifice mobility for stability or sacrifice stability for mobility. When you get into your biotensegrity, you are maximizing both simultaneously, and that is ideal. That is effort with ease. That is efficiency of energy in your body. That is reduction of wear and tear on your joints. It's reduction of compression. Anyways, you know, I could talk about that stuff forever. So this is your biotensegrity flow. I may reference my notes because it's kind of long, and sometimes I start to forget what comes next. You'll have your video. I also have it in writing. If anybody's interested, just let me know, and I can send it to you via email. There might also be some other videos of the biotensegrity flow out there. I learned this from my mentor, Wendy LeBlanc Arbuckle. She established the Pilates Center of Austin, and I've been studying with her for many years. So she might have it on the Pilates Center of Austin website. I would not be surprised if she's got a video there. I could look that up and share it with you so you have another video to go by. So I'm going to roll up my mat. We're going to start lying on our backs. And we're going to have the mat underneath of us. You could also roll up a towel. If you need something bigger and fuller, then that's where you could use a bolster or you know, your rolled up blanket, things that we've used in the past. For me, I found the blanket's a little bit too big. I already have a lot of backing, and that's the point. So why do we put something underneath of us, and where do we put it? So the whole point of having this underneath your back is to help you experience that sense of backing, right? I really want you to feel like your back body, your ribs in particular, can settle back. And so how big it is and where it is underneath of you has everything to do with your rib cage in front being flush with your belly wall, right? So if your bolster is too big, or if it's not quite in the right place, it'll send your ribs kind of up into a flare, and you'll feel them. I don't even know if it's visible. You'll feel them kind of popping out of your torso or your belly. But when you find the right placement, right there. So I literally feel myself resting back, giving into, and resting down into that mat underneath of me. So hopefully you can see now. Right, my ribs are not as visible, and they're much more fluid and smooth with my belly wall. So don't rush yourself. Setup is everything. If the setup is not right, then you're not going to gain the benefits of the movement that come after. So take your time, be curious, allow yourself to explore. If the only thing you do today, the only thing you have time for is to find the right bolster, then great. That's a huge accomplishment. So take your time trying to find something that's the right size, and then to find the right placement. So hopefully that gives you enough information to feel confident for yourself in what you're doing, right? So the whole point of this is to rest back. Feel your body, your torso, right? Your central core, your central canister, resting back. And with that resting back, the more you rest back, the more you should start to notice a sense of width, right? You start to feel like your body's spreading out. I'll describe this through the feet also a lot when we're standing, like at the beginning of class when we're doing roll down or standing breath exercise, or just trying to find that relationship with gravity. When you get your down the back, I feel like my feet soften and they kind of spread out. So same thing here, my back, my whole torso, front and back softens, and I start to feel the width of my back yielding to the floor. So, okay. So then we're going to go into your chest lift with breathing. If you've been in all of these classes since the beginning, you're already very familiar with this exercise. This is a massive central core exercise. It is all about breath, right? Getting the breath to move the bones, right? To move the tissues and move the bones, to be the thing that gives you curling up. You're not curling up because somebody said curl up. You're curling up because your breath moved your ribs, and your ribs moved so much that your head started to get dragged, and you didn't want your head to get dragged across the floor. So instead, you kept it neutral and allowed it to ride the movement of your breath, the movement of your rib cage, and that curled you up. And then, right, we always talk about, right, letting the head relax in the hands so you don't have excess strain and stress through your neck and your shoulders. Letting your head rest back, that's backing. Right, curling forward, but feeling that breath, that inhale into your back body. curling forward, but being rested back in this mat underneath of you. So now you've actually got some more sensory information of you resting back as you're curling forward. So you've got that balance of forward and back energy. Inhale at the top, exhale all the way down. So the other little things is a bit of an advance or a progression from the chest lift we did previously. Because you've got this underneath of you, now you're actually going, you might be going into a little bit of extension instead of just being flat on the floor. We might have a little bit of spine extension. So now you're going through a greater range of motion with your breathing chest lift. So we're just gonna do 3 of those. You've got your hammock for your hand, you've got your elbows floating to give you waterfall down the back. You're finding that position over your bolster that allows you to rest back into the floor. Eyes are looking down. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, let the breath move your ribs. Let the ribs and the breath give you curling up. Stay here for 2 inhales. And really get into those sensations of resting back, waterfall down the back, breath, deep, deep, deep core and breath supporting your curl. Exhale down. Allow the inhale. Exhale to curl forward. Heavy head, waterfalling shoulders, 2 inhales. Exhale down. Allow the inhale. Exhale. The exhale, connect you deep in the front and let that curl you up. No lifting, no straightening, no working, no reaching through your head. Shoulders in the waterfall, resting back into that mat behind you as you breathe. And I've got my little quiver, embrace the quiver. 2 inhales. And then exhale down. And now from here, we're gonna let the legs move in the socket. So we're gonna let the knees kind of roll off to the side. Now this is a little bit different from what we used to do in the past, right? I'd have you lift your pelvis and take it all the way over. This isn't that. So this is letting your knees go over. Don't let them collapse, but send them over. Your pelvis can move and weight shift some, but you don't want it to fully drag your pelvis over. We're somewhat leaving the pelvis where it is. And so we're looking for how much freedom do the leg bones have in the hip socket. So we're going to exhale the legs over and inhale, bring them back. And here's the deal with breath. I'm going to say breath every once in a while, but there is no one right way to breathe. Okay, as a reminder, the exhale is the connector. The inhale is the creator of space. So inhale is spaciousness, exhale is connection. So truly, you should exhale wherever you feel like you need help staying connected, right? If you do a movement and you feel like you're popping, you disconnect, you need an exhale there to help keep your integrity of connection. So put your exhales and inhales wherever it feels best to you. Let the knees, we're gonna go 3 times. Let the knees go over. I'm gonna take my hands back behind my head where I had them. And then the other thing, breathe to come back to center and just continue to alternate sides. And then what I want you to look for is the knees go over. Can you sense the relationship from your knees to your opposite shoulder, right? The shoulder that your knees are moving away from. And it's not, it may feel massive for you, or it may feel really subtle for you, or it may not be there at all for you right now. But it's not any big explosion thing, but it's just like, oh, I noticed that when my knees go over, that this shoulder gets drawn. My arm wants to float up a little bit, and my shoulder kind of drops down the waterfall. My leg movement is bringing me into that down connection. I'm not muscularly contracting. But the whole point here, right, is just start to sense that spiralic fascial connection, right? As your legs spiral this way, it talks to your upper girdle, your upper core, your arm and shoulder on the opposite side. If you can't feel it, you might just have some blockage, right? You have some place where you hold tension so much that it's become locked down and it doesn't let the movement flow through it. Therefore, it can't talk right to the other end, to the person on the other end of the line there. So just, you know, explore that. Again, I'm not really doing anything. I'm not so relaxed that I'm falling apart, but I'm also not so controlled that I'm gripping. But I'm really just trying to be relaxed and fluid and have integrity, and then noticing the connections, right, from my lower body from my lower core, through my central core to my upper core. So there's relationship there, and I want to have tissue tensions existing in my body that allow that relationship to communicate and allow my body to orient itself. That's what we're doing. We're trying to get out of the way to let our nervous system recalibrate our tissue tensions. So I'm gonna double check my notes, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, so now, I was talking a lot, but when you do it, you're gonna keep your hands behind your head in that elbow float that allows you to have water fall down the back. So your arms will be, you know, somewhere around here the whole time you're doing that. So now, we're gonna let the knees go over to one side, and we're gonna let it draw us over, kind of into a right little fetal position here. And we're gonna exhale. And then inhale, and my hairband fell out, and we're gonna lengthen out. So right now, head is resting, legs are straight. You may choose to have a little bend in the bottom leg. That's perfectly fine. You're gonna go with, right, whatever feels the most balanced in your own body, right? Stable without straining or gripping, okay? So what we're gonna do here, on the next inhale, we're gonna lengthen out. We're gonna use the floor to create length and lift. So we've kind of done this in the past, so this isn't completely new. It's just a little bit different expression of it. So what is the minimal amount of energy you need through this bottom leg, this one here, bottom leg pressing into the floor, ribs energizing, subtly pressing into your mat, and this bottom arm subtly pressing into the floor. What you're looking for, right, is you just start to go into the floor. Do you feel your head starting to pick up and lengthen? Do you feel your top leg just really freely kind of floating out, right? So I want to be very clear that I'm not lifting up my head and sending my leg out, right? Rather, I'm thinking about what kind of energy into the floor has me feel like my head to foot lengthens, and when they lengthen, they float, okay? So like right now, right, my arm is connected. I'm not muscularly pushing really hard, but I have some energy into the floor, not enough to really create a lot of muscle tension, but it totally lifts my head. This top arm and my neck are totally free, and my leg is floating, but it's almost non-existent. It's very comfortable, there's no strain. Of course, you can hear my voice, right, is normal. So these are all signs that you're down the back, up the front. A totally freely moving head with no neck tension is sign that you're down the back, up the front. Being able to do all these movements without any voice changes, also a sign that you're down the back, up the front. And I'm starting to get some neck fatigue, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my head back in my hand. So, right, so you've created, so this hand, you can keep it behind your head. I naturally feel like I want to reach this arm out, right? So I'm just going to let my biotensegrity place my top arm. You can let yours do the same. If you don't know what to do with it, play with it behind your head, play with it in different positions. See if you can let it find itself, okay? We'll say the default, though, is behind your head. So we're going to exhale, totally relax down. So we'll do that 3 times. Inhale, what's the right amount of energy into the floor that lengthens and lifts you? And again, I feel like I want to do that on the inhale. You might feel like you get that connection and lengthening through the exhale. So play with it. I'm just going to say breathe to relax down completely. And then breathe as you do the minimal energy into the floor to get a sense of lengthening and floating. One more time, breathe to relax over. And now we're going to do it one more time. Breathe. What's the right energy into the floor that has you naturally lengthen, lifting, and floating? And now we're going to add rotation to it. Well, actually, let's do the leg first. So we kind of did this last week. So I want your leg to go forward. But I want you to be cognizant of your sitting bones, right? As your leg releases forward, your sitting bones release kind of away from the back of the leg. If anything, I want your sitting bones to feel like they're reaching out of the top of your head, right? So your sitting bone to head direction is going on this axis, and then the leg, right, goes into that perpendicular axis. And then we'll let the leg come back, and I want you to reach the leg behind you. And again, your sitting bones, they should be, I want them ideally to be orienting straight out of your head, but because your leg is going back, what you might feel is like your sitting bones are now reaching into the back of your leg, right? Your sitting bones are there, your leg is going back, so now you feel like your sitting bones are going into the back of your leg. So the leg comes forward, your sitting bones are still going right in that head to tail direction, and your leg deviates to that perpendicular direction. Your leg goes back, your sitting bones are still oriented straight out of your head, so you might feel like the back of your leg is going into your sitting bones. Okay, so I just want you to get that feeling, right, of being able to freely move your leg without your pelvis moving with your leg, right? So can your leg go back without your pelvis having to fully spill forward? Can your leg come forward without feeling like your tail has to wrap underneath, right, and follow you? So again, we're trying to, without forcing, without gripping, without over-stabilizing the pelvis, right, we're trying to move the femur in the socket and feel that differentiation of the leg bone from the sitting bones, okay? Now, if you need to come down for a rest, you can. If not, you can stay up there. Because now we're going to add rotation. So again, what kind of yielding, what kind of energy connection do you need into the floor to help give you that lengthening float? Do you want your hand behind your head, or do you want to send it somewhere else? Now, as your leg goes forward, your upper body is going to rotate back. And again, what breath? Do you want an inhale or an exhale there? Now we're going to take the leg back, and we're going to let the upper body rotate forward. And I do have my, you can't see it, but my arm is still on the floor when I go back. You may rotate so much, I don't know if you can still see it there, that your arm floats off the floor. Great, beautiful. Do whatever gives you your sense of tensegrity, right? No strain, no gripping, no locking down of movement. Do you need that contact into the floor, or do you feel so supported you can float off the floor, okay? So which breath has your leg come forward and your upper body go back? Which breath has your leg go back and your upper body rotate forward? I'm trying to hold my hair out of the way to give you, sorry, my hairband fell out. Now, if you do feel like you can take this top hand away from the back of your head and reach it, there's another thing you're going to notice that's most likely to happen in your body. As your upper body rotates back, your hand is going to naturally rotate palm up. As you come through rotating the other direction, you're going to end up with your palm down. And you may find, right, that your arm wants to continue to spiral further. So that's, again, that's just the fluidity and the flow of your natural tensegrity and the natural, your body is made up of spirals. So let those spirals flow if they want to. Again, right? So here I really feel floaty. And I've rotated my arm and my hand's not in the frame. I'm going to move back so you can see how I let it flow. And I might cut my feet off, just so you can see, right, my hand. Okay, so I'm down. Push into the floor to come up. I want to release this hand because that's what feels really great in my body. I'm going to go back. And I don't force my arm, but I really just let it go to the end of my sensations of tensegrity, right? Before I start feeling like I'm pushing or forcing. And then I come forward, and I'm not in the right spot on my, there we go. Right, so as I go further, my hand was to continue to rotate this way. And again, it's very fluid. There it unwinds, goes behind me, right, and now it's rotating this way. One more time. And you could add a humming breath to this to see how much further you go, just by humming. So I usually do that about 3 times, come back, rest down, and then we'll do it on the other side. So let's just roll over, or actually, let's come to your back, sorry. What we'll do from there is just roll onto our backs and come back to where we started. And I might have to move my mat because I've got a wall behind me. So we're going to go through this more quickly, right? We've already explored on the first side, asked some questions. So we're going to keep asking those questions, but I don't have to do it out loud. You can kind of do it on your own as you practice, and this one will be more fluid. So we've got our hands behind our head, our elbows are floating to give us waterfall down the back. We're going to let the knees release to the other side, and we're going to let our body roll to that side, and we're going to go into kind of our little fetal position. We're going to rest down. For me, it's an inhale to lengthen out to straight. I like a little bend today in my bottom leg. I don't feel totally relaxed if I go to a fully straight leg. Okay, so again, check in with the waterfall through your shoulder blades. Okay, where do your arms need to be in space and underneath of you to allow the waterfall down your back? And again, for me, it's an inhale as I push into the floor and I feel that natural lengthening, which then lifts me up. I need to make a little adjustment with where I am on my mat. There we go. And then a breath to relax down. And a breath into the floor to create length and lift. No gripping, no forcing, no straining, just total groundedness and floating. Very buoyant. Breathe, relax down. One more time, breathe, connect with the floor to create that sense of length and floating. And then we're going to take the leg forward and we're going to think about the sitting bones reaching straight out from our head. We're going to take that leg back and still the sitting bones are lengthening straight out of our head. 2 more times. The leg comes forward, the sitting bones. And again, I'm not forcing the sitting bones, but I'm just thinking about, right, how can I relax? How can I be waterfall-y? How much connection do I need with the floor that actually allows my sitting bones and my moving leg to separate so that my leg bone moves as freely as possible in a stable pelvis, in a stable socket joint. And then I feel like I want to make another little adjustment with my fulcrum, and that's okay, right? Because you are going to be reorienting in real time. Things are going to shift, and so you may need your grounding at a slightly different place. So it's okay to shift around. So when I do this, I literally feel my body opening and lengthening, and as I lengthen, that's when I feel like I want to shift my grounding point through my rib cage. So it's okay to shift and reposition. Again, right? Because we're not forcing anything. So now we're going to add that rotation. Leg comes forward, upper body rotates back. Where do each of your arms want to go? Stay in the waterfall. Does this arm want to spiral as you reach back? Does your other arm, does it come off the floor or does it want to stay? For me, it wants to stay down on the floor right now, right? And then leg goes back, upper body rotates forward. How far do you want to go without forcing it? What about that arm supporting your head? Is it on the floor? Does it naturally float off? Breathe to rotate. There, my arm came off the floor on this one very naturally. Didn't think about it, didn't effort it. Same thing here. One more time. Breathe. And breathe. Come back to the side and rest down. Cool. And then we're going to roll onto our backs again. Gonna double check my notes, make sure I don't forget anything. Think we're good. Okay. So we're on our backs again. That mat underneath of you again is still in that place where your ribs can rest down. They're very flush with your belly wall in front. And you feel yourself relaxing back and maybe spreading out a little bit. Hands are still behind your head. Elbows are floating, giving you waterfall down the back. So now we're gonna go ahead and straighten one leg out. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna exhale, we're gonna push into the floor with the foot of the bent knee. And I want you to notice first, right, how it drops your ribs and it curls your pelvis, or it curls your tail subtly. Inhale, release it. That, we want that to be present before we go into the next phase of the movement, right? So you want to make sure that the breath drops your ribs and the energizing of your foot into the floor, you feel that curling your tail, right? So you feel it drawing you together in front, but without pulling you off the floor behind you, right? So it's not really curling you up, but it is deeply connecting you. And you might even start to feel, I just noticed this in my own body, I hadn't really thought about it before, right? So as I exhale and I push into the floor with this foot, I feel the rib drop, I feel the pelvis curl, and I notice this leg actually starts to float off the floor. Like it's not totally leaving the floor, but I can tell, oh, it's starting to come up. And that's what we're trying to achieve. I want this leg to come off the floor with zero sensation of effort or grip through the knee, the quad, or the hip flexor, or the low back, or nothing crazy in the belly. And we'll breathe, bend the knee, put the foot down and slide it out. Exhale, rib drop, push into the foot, pelvic curl, floating leg. Breathe, bend, put it down, slide it out. Exhale, ribs, pelvis, leg float. So like you may even start to sense, right, that this leg is lifting from this deep, deep scoop. In Pilates, there used to be, it's less and less so, praise the Lord. They used to say, scoop your belly, pull your navel to your spine. Very voluntary, very superficial, very outer layer of muscles. Really not what you, that scooping is what you want, but you want it to come from a more involuntary place. So you can't tell people to do it, right? But you can say, oh, breathe, make sure your ribs are moving. Oh, ground through your foot to release your tail. Your belly falls, your surface belly releases and it falls inward. And now, boom, you've got this deep, deep connection through your adductors, through your iliacus, through your psoas to the front of your spine. And you've got ease. The sense of ease that leg floats up. So let's do the same thing with the other leg. Straighten the other leg. Exhale. How much push into the floor do you need? Again, we're always looking for, right? What's the minimal effective dose? What's just enough? Nothing extra. Breathe as you bend. Typically, this is the inhale. Exhale, rib drop. Put into the floor. You get that curl and you get that leg float. Exhale. Create the leg float. Inhale. And you might know, like I'm noticing in my body, my left, I can get the float, but it's not, there's not as much ease. Like I can feel some tissue tension. This side feels different. And that's very common. For most of us, the side's going to feel different. And it's okay, it's nothing wrong. It's just where you are today. And those are the things we can notice shift with these kinds of practices. So typically we'll do that 3 times. Again, let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, we're good. So from there, we're going to have both knees bent, both feet on the floor, and we're going to reach towards our inner thigh. So this is going to take us into a kind of a rolling, like a ball type of experience, okay? So we're going to, and so the arms are reaching towards the inner thighs, but you don't want to be reaching out of your waterfall, right? So I'm going to actually, right, bring my legs closer to me just so I don't have to reach out of my waterfall. And it's even okay if, like I'm noticing now, my feet are going to come off the floor, and that's okay. I'm going to exhale, right? And as I let my exhale bring me into chest lift, it brings my feet to the floor. And I'm just noticing something. I actually wanted my feet up. I'm going to bring them back up, and now I'm going to grab higher on the legs. There we go. So we can do that again. We can let it come down. Feet are up. Exhale. Use the exhale to curl up. And can you come up, right? Can you come into this curl up? Can you feel, does the breath actually give the back of your legs into your hands? And can you stay in the waterfall of your shoulders? I'm gonna go to the outside, play with it. Do you want to hold inside with your elbow, which turns your elbows out, which is nice. For me, it's giving me a funky thing through my right hand. Right, so I feel like I need to go out to the outside with that hand. I still want elbows out, okay? Let's big elbows out. We're gonna exhale down. Inhale. Last time, exhale, chest lift. Back of legs into the hands, just like rolling like a ball. And then, can we straighten the legs up without any strain, without any effort, without any tensing? And then go ahead and reach into your feet. If the back of your legs come into your hands, don't lose your waterfall. Let that reach into your legs. Roll you up to a comfortable place where you're balanced. Okay, some people might roll up higher than others, that's fine. I'm gonna go back to the insides now that I'm up. I'm gonna crawl. You can do it on the inside or the outside. The inside is nice because it kind of takes your elbows wide. You don't have to think about it so much. Elbows are not gonna drop. And I'm gonna crawl up my legs, or rather, I guess down my legs towards my ankles. And again, I'm gonna make sure I'm in that waterfall. I'm gonna try and be this in Pilates. This is a teaser position. Can you stay in down the back up the front? Can your legs be up there without a bunch of crazy gripping tension, right? Through your thighs, through your hip flexors, through your low back. I'm gonna go ahead and take my hands back to the outside. Now, can you take one hand off? I'm gonna try and get a little more frame. And one hand come off. Can the other hand come off? Right, but no, the whole point of that, can you take your hand off, right, without really anything moving, right, without falling back, without tensing or gripping up? Can you stay in down the back up the front? Can you stay in your tensegrity as you start to release the hands? Can both hands come away? Okay. Now, if you need that connection, go ahead and take your hands back to your legs. If you're really strong and comfortable here, you can take the hands off. So you're either going to walk down your legs to lower your body, or you're going to let go with your hands and you're going to control yourself back down. I'm going to bring the legs in. Now, we can continue the flow from there and go into some real specific Pilates exercises, but that's more than enough to get you started. Okay, so that's your biotensegrity flow. Play with those ideas and concepts. Hit me up if you've got questions or comments, and we'll go through this all again together in the next class, so we have a chance to do it all together. But I at least wanted you guys to have it to play with this week. Good luck, and yeah, I'm looking forward to being with you again and hearing what you have to say from this experience. Have a good week. Bye bye.